Man, I'm so excited for this, man. This is real here, bro.
I'm incredibly excited, man. I appreciate the opportunity and platform to talk with you about everything. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. You a Cubs fan, man? I know I am. I'm just sorry.
Oh, Colts fan?
A Cubs fan.
Oh, Cubs fan? I'm not the biggest baseball fan, so I'll just go with yeah.
Okay.
I'm not against them, so.
All right, that's what's up, man. Well, let's get into this thing, man.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tyrone Brown Jr. This is the live show. We're here with my special guest. We just gonna call him Mad, okay? And the way that you spell that is MADTH, okay?
Right.
So Mad, and man, it's a delight to have you on today. This is an exclusive, guys. Matt, just if you could just introduce yourself, talk about where you grew up, and then we'll start from there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Again, I appreciate your time so much. Just like you said, MADTH, MADTH. It's actually an acronym for Mad Thinker, right? And just
Yeah.
shortening it down to MAD. I think we're all a little bit of a mad thinker, and that's a little bit about what Math Productions is about. Is kind of letting that inner mad thinker out in the most creative and the most positive and the best way possible. Where I'm from, east side of Indianapolis, born and raised my entire life. You'll probably see in the background random pictures and memorabilia from Warren Central. I graduated there. So, yeah, still based out of the east side. A lot of my business is online, mathproductions.com. You can get games, miniatures, commission battle maps, digital battle maps, tons of different products and goods. But what I'm
Wow.
trying to expand to in the near future is giving a more tangible outlet to people here on the east side of Indy to get to experience some games that really I never got to experience growing up. It was all football or Halo and Call of Duty, right? If you were playing tabletop games growing up, you're a nerd. Like, we never did that stuff. And like growing up, I found out how much fun it was. So that's what I want to kind of show people is like, you can play football, you can win state championships, you can be a part of all that, and you can still have fun with your friends sitting around a table coming up with a story about killing some bad guys, right?
That's what's up, man. I love it. And you were talking about the gaming industry, man. I know that's an increase in today's society where the gaming industry, man, it has just made a big boom. And so now you're in the gaming industry. Can you share how you got into the gaming industry
Oh, for
and
sure.
then exactly what the gaming industry is about?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give it all from my perspective, right? So the way I got in was entirely by accident. The game that really got me into what I'm into now is a card game. It's called Legendary. It's based off the version I play is with Marvel characters. I'm a real big comic nerd already. Love Marvel and DC both. But so I started writing my own like story mode for this card game, right? And
Okay.
then as I started writing this story, it grew to, long story short, it's a collection of like 33 works, over 100,000 words. It's
Wow.
all interconnected. It's Marvel, DC, and Tolkien's library of works, kind of all hybrid into one universe. But so that got me into like writing for games. And because of that, my aunt, who's already one of the single biggest influences of my entire life, she bought the D&D 5e Essentials starter kit, and she gave it to me in December of that year. And she was like, "Hey, I think with the way you write and the way that you like to work about game stories and stuff, I think that you might be a good dungeon master for D&D if you wanted to try it out." And so I took the box, I looked through it, I'm like, this is kind of cool, yeah, I'm into it, but didn't really like start playing or nothing like that too much. And it was like February, into like January, February the next year that I was like, okay, I'm gonna open up the box, I'm gonna read the rules, I'm gonna try to figure out how to play. Got me as the dungeon master, my aunt, my dad, my grandpa, my wife, and a family friend all together. and we had our first ever game night with Dungeons and Dragons. And because of the prep work for that, and because of actually the experience of playing, I don't think anybody else fell in love with it quite like I did, but I fell head over heels, right? I was obsessed with it at that point. So I started just reading everything I can about different systems, the system itself, stories, and I'm a writer at heart. Like
Okay.
that's what I do. So as soon as I started learning about the official like lore of the game, I
Okay.
immediately make my own. And so I started just making my own story modes. My own homebrew is the term that's used or whatever. And I started running my family party through my homebrew worlds. And at first, we were just using like I would take like Google images and like print them off on paper, and we would use those for like what our characters look like and stuff like that. Didn't have miniatures and battle sets and all this other stuff. And I found online this like tube of generic, basic, cheap plastic fantasy miniatures, and it was super cheap. Bought those, and I was like, okay, people who paint miniatures, that's such a waste of time. Like, I will never waste the time or money doing that. This little gray nothingness is perfectly enough for me. And in all this, though, right? So I found success when I started putting out those stories for the game. I put them on like AO3, fanfic.net, and Wattpad, and started getting a whole lot of subscribers, people commenting and kudoing and all that stuff. And
Wow.
so I had been off social media for like almost a decade, right? Like I hadn't been on any social media, any internet platform, nothing. And so when I started putting my writing out, I was like, well, let me try Reddit because I've never experienced Reddit before. I've only heard bad things, so I'm not going to expect anything good going in. And I don't have to deal with like regular social media. So I started sharing and interacting with people in these subreddits for like fan fiction and writing and stuff like that. Found out they weren't as scary as I thought people on the internet were. And so that led me to tying it back to where we're at with the D&D, I started writing out these stories and filming them because I was like, well, Reddit was kind of not too bad. I've never tried YouTube before. Let me see about putting out these like Dungeons and Dragons, like animated videos or whatever. So I start doing that. When I'm promoting for those, I finally cave in and I joined Twitter. I had never been on Twitter before. I had a profile, so clearly I had been on it before,
Yeah.
but never did anything with it. So I made a new one just for Math Productions because I've been using Math from the beginning, right? It's my name.
Yeah.
And so I get on Twitter and I start joining these D&D communities with the sole intention of trying to push these real shitty basic videos that I'm making, right? And I start seeing these painted miniatures. Tie back to what I said. Remember, my philosophy is why would I paint miniatures? That's a waste of time. That's so dumb. And I started seeing these works of art, like not just some like 8-year old took some Crayola paints and slapped it on this piece of plastic.
Yeah.
Like people put their heart and time into it, and it was fabulous. So many. And so after just, I keep showing my wife these minis, like, look at this, like maybe I should try it, maybe I should try it. And my wife is the one who actually, she found some cheap basic paints and a paintbrush set and all that in a junk drawer. And one night she was like, hey, look here, why don't you try it? Go ahead and paint a mini. So we sat down, we each took one of the cheap little plastic dragons and we each painted our own dragon. And I think she had fun for the night. And again, like when we played the game, like I immediately fell in love. Like it was so meditative to me, just getting in the zone, like playing with the brush strokes, playing with the colors. And we only had like 4 colors at the time. So being able to like mix colors and seeing the combinations and trying to create my own colors, I just fell in love with that entire creative process. And so that's kind of what sent me down learning how to paint, getting more involved in that painting community. And I was still playing D&D, still having fun with that, but slowly over time, and for the sake of the story, I just painting just ballooned into the biggest portion of my creative outlet. And people kept telling me, this is really good, blah blah blah. And I got to the point where I was like, let me see if I could try, to paint for other people. Because a lot of people, I think they think a commission artist is being like, pay me to do something you can do. That's not my objective. Like, I've given away a ton of minis that I've painted because I want to be a part of your game. So
Right.
if I can make your game better in any way possible, that's my objective. And for me, having awesomely painted dope minis on the table is a better experience than not. So if I can provide that to other people, that's what I wanted to start doing. And as I got into that, I just can't ever, I got like creative ADHD, so I can't stay focused on one thing. I was like, okay, so I got the commission minis that are going good, but not everybody plays with minis. COVID's going on. Most people are
Right.
playing online.
Right.
You need digital virtual maps. And so one of my painting patrons for my Patreon, they gave me some login access to an engine to be able to create battle maps. And ever since then, I think I have like 150, 200 published digital battle maps. I've done maybe 50 commission maps for like live play productions for published D&D source books. I've got a map that I did for, I think it's this weekend. There's going to be an online tournament with like 20 some different creators that are all going to be battling out the top D&D monsters to see which monster's the best or whatever. And that's happening on a battle map that I created for them, right? So that's kind of how it evolved, is completely by accident. I was playing another game. I was trying to learn how to do something for my aunt because I love her and I wanted to play a game with her. And, now I'm trying to help make other people's games as fun as possible.
That's awesome, man. I love people's stories to find out how in the world they got involved, where they are. And man, that just it just tells the story from your start. And now, where are you right now? Where are we filming at?
Yeah, so this is actually my garage, aka the shop, right? So it's all repurposed stuff, just like a lot of my creative works that I'll show you as I'm walking around or whatever.
Please show us around.
Yeah,
Please
it's all
show us
trash
around.
that I try to make better. So this was an old countertop that instead of throwing it in the trash, I was like, hey, we could set it on some stools up against the wall, and now I got a perfect workbench, right? So this is where in the warmer months, most of my painting all happens out here in the garage. Got my TV, got my music, got my printer, all my paints, accessories, basing accessories. This is all my company. This is my flagship design. It's an original miniature, Clyde, my dice.
Can you zoom in, Jackie? Can you zoom in a little bit? Oh man, that's awesome. I love that.
So that's available for, you can purchase it as a STL file to print yourself, or you can buy it as a pre-painted, as an unpainted printed miniature, or you can commission an actual painting from me where I'll paint one for you. This is actually for someone else.
Nice.
Unpainted, but printed. We've got resin options as well as the filament options.
That is awesome, man.
But then even that's grown. So like where we have Clyde for sale, other creatures, these have the support still on them. Sorry. All of them have the supports on them. Here's a smaller version without supports. But they're my roach die. They're little D4s with roach legs that creep around on you, and you can purchase those as well. But those are all from my flagship game that I ended up creating called Welcome to More Dice. It's what the Kickstarter was based off of.
Sure.
But so that's all my company works. These are all unpainted minis that have been donated to me by various friends, either supporting me directly or MADTH Productions itself, as well as all of these, the same thing. Some of them I've bought. A lot of them have been donated because the tabletop community is hands down one of the single greatest communities I've ever been a part of in my life.
Jackie, that's a great shot right there. That's a great shot of the gaming industry that MADTH has. I think that you're doing a fantastic job, at, and then you have this table. What is that about, man?
Yeah, so again, when I was talking about the play sets and stuff like that, I started making these digital battle maps, and that's cool to make other people's games better, but I don't really normally play online like that. My main, joy is playing in person, having stuff that I can put my hands on and look at. So I started taking, like, I think you can see from the bottom, yeah, it's just a piece of pink styrofoam,
Oh, wow. Okay.
right? And so I started, one of my good friends, Josh, he taught me this combination of being able to make this gluey muck stuff that you can cover over like styrofoam or wood or other types of foam. And basically, it seals it, it hardens and protects it. It's able to be painted on. It's great. And so when he taught me how to do that, I just went crazy. I got mountains of cardboard and styrofoam all throughout my garage.
Wow.
And I will get rid of a lot of it. Not every piece of trash is salvageable, but all of this is trash. These buildings, every bit is trash. This styrofoam and the rocks that I made around it is all trash. The little wood piece, the little bridge that's collapsed is trash. Like everything around here is trash, but it's all repurposed into, you could have a blank field running along a stream where you could have an encounter. Now all of a sudden you have like a little town where you could have an encounter.
Yeah.
On this play set, you could play through a water encounter or a beach encounter. There's a mountain set over here that you can put together. So you can have a mountain that's set out over the river. You could set another piece on top. That whole piece is a mountain on one end that you can go either on top of the mountain or inside the mountain. It's got a whole little jungle set here that you could add in more tree props as needed, add in other props as needed. A beach scene. Even up here, it's probably covered in dust. One of my original ones. This is like
Wow.
lava, fiery dungeon play set type thing you could play in.
And so you made all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. I just repurposed the trash, had a vision in my head, kind of how I wanted it to look and how I hoped it would look, and started throwing paint on it to hope that it came out the right way. So
Wow.
literally all this is that hopefully looks like lava is just glue, regular ass Elmer's school glue. And I poured it all in. And as I was pouring it in, I just mixed in colors, swirled it around, and got the end result that I did.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the live show. This is a live show exclusive here with Matt. And he, I want to say you were in the gaming industry and creating games, and now, for those of you that are gamers in the world, look at the definition that these things are created with. I'm really intrigued by all of the detail, the fine detail. How did you get those guys like that, man? I mean, just creating them like that.
So my favorite one, I'm gonna show you over here some of these. So where you said, how do I get them like that? So here's one of my original dragons that I painted, right? Admittedly, the mini itself is not a very detailed mini, but as you can see, my color blends are fairly blocky. It's not the greatest paint job in the world, right? Within a couple months, though, better mini, admittedly, far more details. But as you can see, just practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah.
Color blending, having to go up to the point where, so this mini is from WizKids. And when I painted this mini, it was just recently released. And they took my pictures that I posted online, and they used those pictures, crediting me, which I loved, throughout all of their social media platforms, right? So they liked my painting so much that they used it to show it off themselves.
And so, I mean, here it is. You did all of these things. Now you're actually selling these online, correct?
Yeah, if you go to madproductions.com, a lot of these actually are listed for sale. I know the frog hemoth that I was just showing is, I think this one is, which this one won me the company Reaper Miniatures. They gave me a spotlight award for this one.
Wow.
But a lot of those are for sale online, and I love doing commissions for people. So literally, if you hit me up on Twitter, Matt333, if you hit me up on my website, mattproductions.com, if I have a mini unpainted that you want, I would love to paint it for you. Or even better, if you already have the mini, just send it to me. I'll paint it. We'll work out a cheap deal, and I'll send it right back.
Man, that is awesome, man. I love this. And I, like I said, I'm a stickler for details, and to see these things from a camera view, the details on them are extensive. I mean, you got it all the way down to the fingers and the muscles. The dragon with breathing out, kind of. I love that. I really do.
I'll show you
I
one
mean,
detail that I love because he's one of, I consider him a mentor. His name's Alan, Gorilla with a Brush. So on this giant that I did, there's like 13 different tattoos that represent individuals that are very influential to me. But
okay.
Alan, Gorilla with a Brush, he's best known for his freehanding and his tattoos. Dude is sick. Like he's not human is the joke. But so in honor of him, I tried to freehand his gorilla logo as a tattoo onto this one.
Nice.
I tried. I gave it my best shot.
That is awesome. And so now, not only, I mean, we're gonna share your contact information. What social media are you on as well?
So I am technically on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, but primarily like Twitter. Facebook, I only have because I tried to set up a business page and I found
Okay.
out you had to have a personal page. So I made one, but I decided at a protest I'm just not going to use it,
Right.
and because I'm ignorant. But Twitter, if you go to Matt333 at Twitter, there's also what is it? OG DG Clyde, and that's Clyde's own personal Twitter because I had to let Clyde have a Twitter as well. But Matt333 is hands down the best place to see the most recent content from me, the most behind the scenes type access to not only me but my creations and my content. But easiest way to get a hold of me as well, just message me on Twitter.
Nice. Now, I understand that you're also on Twitch, that you
Yeah.
have mega followers on Twitch, not Twitter, but Twitch. For those of you that are not familiar, you're probably not a gamer, but on Twitch is TWITCH is Twitch, and it's a gaming, really a gaming kind of site that was introduced not too long ago.
Yeah.
But now it's making a big boom, and that's where you actually are able to have live gaming interactions on Twitch, correct?
Oh, I love it so much. Yeah, I've been my biggest footprint, if you will, in Twitch is actually I've been a repeated guest on Gamer Mom Luna's Tales from the Tavern. I've been a guest on Geek Curio with my good friend Andy a few times. I've been on J&J Tabletop once. We're actually going to film Monday or Wednesday, one of the two, for an upcoming episode as well. And then again, my name gets shown more than my face on Twitch just because of the battle maps that I do for people. A lot of times you'll see my battle map and not necessarily know it's me unless you look for the credit, but it's something that I created that you're looking at up on screen. But I love that you mentioned that while we're talking about these play sets, because the last big play set over here that I haven't mentioned yet, which is my first play set that I actually ever made, and excuse the green paper because it was an at-home print of the PDF of Welcome to More Dice, which is a entirely original 5e compatible tabletop game that me and Jack, and I'm trying to get you in there with us, and a couple other people I'm hoping will guest on some spots on the Twitch. All of our Twitches streaming out live some actual playthroughs of all these games that we're talking about, getting our hands on some minis on the table, getting them up in the actual play set. This comes apart as well. So once we enter through the front and we're just playing on the down level, we can play through there. When we get to the midsection and on up, obviously we can add in as is. If you're playing remotely, you don't have to trip. All you need to have is a set of dice, or on your phone or computer, a dice rolling app, which are free to download. And I can get you all of the maps. Let me get you one of the printouts of a map. But if you can see it with the green paper, I've made digital maps that exactly replicate the physical play set. So even though we'll be having fun in person, playing with these minis and joking and playing and la la la, you can absolutely still be there 100% with a detailed color HD version of the map. So you actually have a prettier map to look at than the handmade one I got right here. Right there on your screen, you can zoom in, you can move around, do whatever you need. So again, if you're playing at home, if you're playing on the table or on the computer, even if you're somebody who wants to watch us play and just follow along with what we're doing, that PDF is entirely available to you. All the breakdown of how the game works, how to play the game, how the bad guys work, how you progress from start to finish. It's all available in, I think, less than $5.
Nice, man, and that is so awesome, man. I'm very intrigued, even though I'm not so much of a gamer. I'm intrigued with the story behind it, and this is really, kind of grew for you.
So,
This has grown beyond what you thought, right?
oh, 1,000-fold. And it's going to continue to grow. It's still continuing to grow. And I can't believe it every day, but that's what I love, right? I'm along for the ride. Let me ask you, so would you say it's fair that you have zero tabletop experience?
I have zero.
You are the perfect person to play this game with me. You are the person
Wow.
that this game was made for. You are the person that I wanted to be like, hey, look, I'm not trying to give you 7 books of 500 pages of different rules and lore, and you got to talk and act like a wizard to be able to play this game. Forget all that. That's not what this is about. This is streamlined. This is meant to be able to sit down with some friends for 1 to 3 hours, however long you want to stretch it out, however much partying you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's supposed to be fun, whether you're 7, whether you're 17, whether you're 37, or whether you're 70. You should be able to experience this game and have the same enjoyment out of it.
Oh my goodness, man! Now you got my attention, because again, like I said, I'm not a gamer, but I'm very interested in new stuff. And so,
You
as long
like
as I
first
can
person
catch on,
shooters?
as long as I can catch on, man, I get it.
Oh, do you like first person shooters?
Oh yeah.
So this game was specifically meant to take the fun combat of Dungeons and Dragons, what I think is a better movement mechanic from Warhammer 40K, which those are both TTRPGs, right? But the entire theme, the entire atmosphere, the entire way I streamlined what you're actually trying to do and how you play is all based off Doom. Like, Doom was the first game that I ever played in my life. Like Doom 2 and Doom 3.
I
Aside from like
remember.
SimCity and different platform builders, like Doom, I've spent the most time playing ever. So I wanted D&D and Doom to have a baby, and then to let other people share that child. And that's what I've created, is a way that you can experience rolling the dice, but you're still just going through, just murking the bad guys.
That's genius, man. That's genius. I got to say that's genius. Because whenever you have a creative mind, to take it to the next level, That's something to behold. And no wonder that this has grown, because now you've seen your passion ignited and now have grown past your wildest imagination. And so, man, look, anything else that we can that you want to tell our audience here, and how they can best contact you, where they can find you, all of those things, you can make that known right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it. Again, Tommy, aka Mad Thinker, mathproductions.com is the official website. It's got links to every social media, all of my YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all that. It's got different informational links to different other creators that I've worked with in the past, that I'm working with currently, and who I will work with in the future. I do randomly send out updates as well there. But the best place for real-time information, as well as to be able to reach me directly, is Twitter, which is going to be MADTH, MADTH 333. You can find me there anytime. I might not reply right away, but I'll definitely see it there at least. And what Math Productions, is about the game. It's about your enjoyment. It's about being able to sit down with some friends and experience something new, something that you might not ever thought that you could enjoy, and maybe potentially finding a similar piece of the enjoyment that I've found. Because I wouldn't be pushing it to other people if I didn't enjoy it myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have fallen into it as far as I have if I didn't fall in love with it as much as I did myself. And because of that love and that joy that it's brought me, that's the entire goal of Math Productions, is to share it with you. Whether it can be a Clyde original miniature, whether it can be a commission painting that I just do for you, whether it's a battle map that you can use with your people online, or whether it's an actual game that you want to sit down and try a new system with. Any way that I can help improve an experience for you, or just bring you a little bit of joy, that's what Math Productions is about. And again, you can find that at mathproductions.com or on Twitter at math333.
Look, well, thank you so much, Matt, for all of your time. And man, look, now you got me hooked up. Man. I need this experience on the table, man. I need some table experience. And so I'll be reaching out after the show, and so that I can, maybe now bring you back and say, Matt, I'm doing a little bit better, man.
I'm 100% game for that, ready for that.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you so much for all of your time. To our production, look, Fox Glenn Marketing and Jackie Roper Jr. For me, Tyrone Brown Jr. from the Life Show. Thank you all so much for being a part of this exclusive interview with Math and all of the gaming industry. Man, look, if you ain't a part of the gaming industry, you need to be. I'm intrigued. Look, we get ready to get out of here, but look, I'm trying to tell you, connect with Math on Twitter, on all of the information that you have heard, and I guarantee you, you will not be sorry. This is another Life Show production. I'm TBJ, man. We out. Have a blessed day. Peace.
Thank you so much, bro.